Hello, all you unsung athletes. Welcome to the Unsung Athlete Podcast, where we give a voice to you, the unsung athlete, who trains every day, grinding without excuse, showing up to your life and our world, reward or not. I'm your host, Shannon Rose. Let's get started. So I wanted to insert a bonus episode today. I had a unique experience over the weekend, which highlighted this idea of us being athletes and this mentality of being athletes, regardless of age, and regardless of whether we're in a competitive sport or not. I was at the hair braiding salon where my daughter Izzy gets her hair done. It usually takes about 7 to 8 hours. So you can imagine I have a lot of waiting time, and it's a family-owned business. There's usually children running around. Mamas are braiding hair. I mean, it is really cool to see. You've got babies sometimes sleeping in their cribs in the corner, and you've got other kids who are playing with toys in the other corner, and then you've got some other grade school kids who might be waiting patiently for their mom to get their hair braided. Well, there was this brother and sister, who were waiting for their mom to get their hair braided. The sister was probably about 9, maybe 10, and the younger brother was, I think, a year younger than her. And so, as I do, I have a lot of waiting time. I decided to, strike up a chat with these kiddos. What are they into? What do they like? And every time I asked the little girl a question, her brother would answer for her, and the girl would nod. And so I looked at the brother and I said, doesn't your sister have a voice of her own? And he looked a little sheepish, and she kind of giggled and laughed. And so I said, I'd love to hear directly from you, to the little girl, answers to these questions. What are you into? What is your favorite subject in school? What big problems do you want to solve in the world? It was really interesting to hear them. They were very, very much into animals. And so the little girl wanted to help all of the animals who didn't have enough to eat. I just love hearing kids' answers to that. Well, then it came to, as I am an athlete, and I'm always thinking of physical activity and empowerment in young girls and women, I asked the little girl what sports she played. And the little boy said, well, she doesn't play any sports. She's a girl. And of course, I'm like, breathe, Shannon. This is a different family, a different dynamic. And she kind of nodded. And I go, well, if you don't play sports, what do you do? What are your hobbies? And the little boy instantly came in and said, I play football and I'm really tough and strong. And I said, I can see that you are very capable, and that is awesome that you play touch football. I said, and then I turned to the little girl and I asked her directly, what do you do? And she goes, I like to snuggle my cat and watch YouTube videos. And the little boy continued to chime in, saying she didn't have time to play sports, that she can't play sports because she's a girl. So again, I politely redirected the energy back to the little girl. And I said, well, have you ever done a push-up before? And again, the little boy said, she can't do push-ups. She's a girl. And then he proceeded to show me how many push-ups he could do. So I looked to the girl and I said, I don't know if you know this, but girls can play sports and they can do push-ups. I don't know if you know this, but I played international rugby. I played international rugby as it's a kind of like football. And the little boy looked at me like, you played football? Basically, yeah, without a helmet, without equipment. I said, and I even got some pretty gnarly injuries from it, but I loved it. And I said, and I can do over 100 push-ups. And the little boy's jaw just dropped. Am I looking at a superhero here? I mean, I was flattered. I am by no means a superhero, but it reminded me just where this mindset of being an athlete starts. It starts at home. It starts by the dialogue that you're having at home and that you're reinforcing with this next generation. So I looked back at the girl. I said, do you want to learn to do a push-up? And she looked at me wide-eyed, so excited. So I showed her how to do her first push-up. We tried on toes, but I realized quickly, let's get the knee push-ups done. And then I made her pinky promise that she would do 10 knee push-ups a day until it was easy. And then she would try to do 10 toe push-ups a day until it was easy. And then I asked her brother to help and support her in that growth. And then the mom came out, she had gotten her hair done and basically was like, all right, it's time to go. And then they were gone. I just sat there thinking about all of the things in our life, movement, empowerment, sports, working out, building muscle, being proud of our large female bodies in our household. It's just a thing we do. I don't even think about it as something that is different or something that is even empowering. I think we just are constantly showing up for ourselves in a physical way every single day, whether that is a walk in the morning or heading to the MMA gym or going to lift weights and doing mobility training. Maybe it's just yoga and stretching in the morning. Maybe it's an active rest day, or maybe we're going for an early morning run. My 10-year-old daughter said that her coach told her she needs to build up her cardiovascular capability and capacity. And she said, Mom, will you wake up early and go running with me before school? Now, I have to say that, yes, I do early morning workouts, but an early morning run is not something I enjoy. However, when your 10-year-old asks you to get up early and run with them, you say yes. You figure out how to make that happen. It's not a choice in my mind. And by no means do I ever want to squash that ambition. So I figure if you're listening and you have the capacity, just know that there are kids, even if they're not your kids, who are paying attention. They're watching, they're listening. What are other women and girls doing? Is it possible that I could be an athlete someday? So go forth and inspire that next generation. They're watching you. Thank you for joining us on the Unsung Athlete podcast, where we give a voice to you, the unsung athlete. If you would like to be a guest on the Unsung Athlete podcast, reach out to me on my social media platforms or website. I'm your host, Shannon Rose. Keep grinding without excuse.